Welcome to Light It Up, a podcast about resilient women balancing motherhood, their careers, personal lives, and all of the challenges that come along with being a superwoman. Each week, you'll be motivated to take action to lead, inspire, transform, and empower. Now, here's your host, Dr. Aginah Musherah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Light It Up. I am your host, Dr. Aginah Musherah. And today I'm very excited about this episode because I have a very special guest who actually happens to be an alum of the great Morgan Park High School. So, the last few episodes, I've had to make sure that I get my fellow Mustangs on. But Miss Kelly Fair, who is the founder of Polished Pebbles, which is a mentoring program here in the Chicagoland area, but she's also an author. And today we are going to talk about her new book, Every Girl is a CEO, Career and Success Guide. So welcome to Light It Up, Kelly.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's exciting to be in the presence of fellow Mustangs.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to first talk about your background. I know you're also an alum of Howard University.
Mhm.
So why don't you tell us what was the decision behind establishing Polished Pebbles and then venturing off into writing this book, which I think is a great book for all young girls to read to see women in leadership roles.
Well, thank you. So, for me, with starting Polished Pebbles, it's a kind of couple of different ways I got there. One, I realized as an adult woman that I needed to be committed to investing in girls that any girls, but particularly girls that grew up in the community that I did, because women poured into me, women nurtured me. From an early age, I always was interested in kind of being this career lady because I love Essence magazine. And
Mhm.
so Essence magazine was back then the only place that you can find Black women, and the women in Essence ladies were beautiful. They were bold, they were bad, they were family women, they dressed well, they had great lifestyles, and they had careers. And that had a really great impact on me. That kind of inspired me that at 13, I wanted to have a job. I didn't want a summer program getting ready to go to Morgan Park. I was like, I need a job. So I told my mom, and lovingly, she looked up in the yellow pages, and I wanted to be a cosmetologist at that time and found Dudley's Beauty College. And at Dudley's, director, Betty Clausen, was the director then. She's the director now. And those women at Dudley's really poured into me. I was shy at the time. They helped me get over my shyness, think about what professionalism looked like. Okay, you might want to do hair, but don't not think about college. And it really had a great impact on me. And I was blessed to have really strong female work supervisors from that point on throughout college, high school, everything. And so for me as an adult woman, I said, I need to be able to give back to girls as well. And so another mentor of mine had taught me a lot about when I would volunteer as an adult, girls and women's programming. And Linda passed away suddenly. So it
Mhm.
kind of left this gap where a lot of women had nowhere to serve. We wanted to stay connected, kind of even just in her legacy. So that was around the time I thought about creating Polished Pebbles.
Mhm.
And it was just really to kind of fill a gap, have a monthly Saturday program. And it was really a need at that time where there just were not enough programs targeted and focusing on the needs of girls of color, but particularly Black girls. And so I just kept growing it.
Mhm.
And we started off with two girls at the Avalon Branch Library on 81st and Stony Island.
Mhm.
Um, and I left my corporate job to kind of figure out what that next step would be. I knew it would be something involved with this work.
Mhm.
And started off with two girls, and we've served now well over 4,000 girls throughout, Chicago, Indiana, Texas, North Carolina, um, uh, elementary school, middle school, high school, and with the focus on girls being great communicators
Mhm.
at home, at school, And then, of course, because it's a passion and it was really a training ground for me, the future workplace.
That is absolutely amazing with your story in terms of, having mentors growing up and then wanting to give back as as you matured, because my experience actually was a tad bit different. I really recall, there were a few people here and there as I was growing up,
Mhm.
and I actually um, wrote my dissertation is about mentoring, and it's about the mentoring experiences of three generations of African American women. So it's Am I My Sister's Keeper?
Okay.
And the premise behind that was, by the time I entered into the workforce, um, I was seeking mentorship. I worked for Chicago Public Schools,
Mhm.
and it was a challenge. And one would have thought that because you have so many Black women who were in leadership roles, that
Right.
it would have been easy.
Right.
But I worked for CPS during a time where it was not, and that was my drive behind helping other women. So mine is a little bit different, whereas I work with women who are in their early stages of their career. So there's enough room, though,
Oh yeah.
all of us, to continue on with that.
Yep.
So and this isn't your first book, right?
No, it's actually my second. So my first book was back in 2016. It's called "They're All the Same Girl." People can still get that book too. At that point, I thought what I wanted to offer and share with the larger kind of like nonprofit youth serving community was just, I think we were at about 70 years of Polished Pebbles at that time. And there's a lot of people, of course, interested in starting nonprofits, getting involved with mentoring. And so it was really a compilation of lessons learned and inspiration for those who are either building their organizations, sustaining them, or just even that individual who is tired of seeing what they see on the TV going on with young people and wanted to, want to get more involved and engaged. And this kind of provides a level of guide, steps and inspiration on how to do that. So it's really a still good piece. And I think it's perfect for early professionals, whether they be interested in education, youth services, social services. The wonderful thing about young professionals and young adults, as you, I'm sure, probably know through some of your mentees, is that they have this automatic innate commitment to making sure society is better, giving back. So that kind of social impact work is just woven into who they are, and they often look to find that in their places of work. So it's still a really great guide for folks, who are looking to get that inspiration, but also being realistic.
Yeah.
Changing the world doesn't mean you got to change it all in 30 days. It's the little things that you can do that can have incremental impact or even just change one life, and that can be really powerful.
So tell me about Every Girl is a CEO. I,
Sure.
I know you've highlighted some just amazing people in this book.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes back to thinking about what my philosophy is when it comes to mentoring.
Mhm.
I never got involved in mentoring and started Polished Pebbles, so people would say, these women are the key role models. No, I think one of the things that's powerful is when we can help young people or mentees realize that there are a wide variety of folks standing and sitting right before you in your community, in your school, in your homes that are actually role models. And so I kind of sought to bring some of that to Every Girl as a CEO. What it is essentially is a career and success guide, and there's no career and success guide out for girls of color. It's the first of their type, but it's a guide that I put together that gets teen girls and tween girls really excited and thinking about preparing for a successful life and future career. And what we hope is that it helps them realize that that's already within them, the ability to bring their dreams into manifestation. And that can start with a real easy goal that a lot of kids, when you talk to, just like me, 13, 14, 15, what do you want? That first dream can be getting that first job.
Right.
And so just really wanted to provide like a blueprint
Mhm.
with examples of really successful women talking about where they started,
Mhm.
and some historical examples of women as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I actually love about the book
Huh?
that there's, you have questions in here. So the young ladies can read through and answer questions and, kind of jot down their feelings, because it's almost like a journal. I'm looking at one section in particular, CEO's journal, reflect and grow. And that's something that I'm not really sure young people really think about. The fact that even as adult women who may be in leadership roles, we all still need a
Right.
mentor. I mean, I have a mentor
Yep.
now, and I've been in the workforce for over 20 years. But
Absolutely.
um, and
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the important thing we can share as mentors is that transparency that you never stop learning.
yes,
Like, it's not going to be tomorrow and then it's all over and you got it all figured out. It's a constant process.
right.
Yeah.
So so tell folks where they can get their book. I want to talk about some other things as well, but I really want to make sure we touch upon where folks can pick up.
I appreciate it. No, they can get it on www.polishpebbles.com or even on my website, www.kellykfair.com. And they can pick up their copies there. They can get a copy of Every Girl's a CEO that they can give the girls in their lives, goddaughters, church daughters, real daughters, nieces. And then, of course, our first book, They're All the Same Girl, is available there too.
Yeah. Um, and then tell us with COVID, I know you
Mhm.
haven't been able with Polished Pebbles to have the in-person mentoring sessions. How have you been able to pivot with Polished Pebbles during this time? What's going on with Polished Pebbles?
I think pivoting is key. We actually call it hashtag the Pebbles Pivot.
Mhm.
I think when we think about organizations like Polish Pebbles and other girl serving organizations, I'm a part of an organization called uh, um, the Coalition of Urban Girls. And so there are a lot of kind of startup or independent girl serving organizations that work with girls within the area. When it comes to how do we move forward, we have to really identify the importance of supporting and also acknowledging the leadership of Black women, right? Because that's one of the things I wanted to make sure was in that book, Every Girl's a CEO. Let's talk about what our legacy is. Our legacy is we've always led. Our legacy is that we always figure out solutions and make ends meet in even the toughest of times. I talk about Harriet Tubman in that book as a CEO. I mean, 5'2", the world's greatest abolitionist, and she couldn't read. That's a CEO, Dolores Huerta, with the Latino civil rights movement. So this is who we are. So when the pandemic hit, we pivoted right away. We had our Mommy and Me Career Conference, which is a day-long conference, and it was our third one. And I think the shutdown started about Friday-ish, and our conference was that Saturday. And so we decided to cancel the in-person event, turn the Polish Pebbles office into like a TV studio, and we did that thing on Facebook Live. So we like to think that not only did the Pebbles pivot, but we pioneered in saying, hey, we need to shift. And I think that's what we have to do in business to be able, and I'm in the business of human services, as you are, to a degree as well. And so to continue to do what we have to do, we're very capable, smart, business women, which means we have to shift, we have to pivot, we have to take care of our teams, as they have families that they need to take care of. And then also think about what does service look like. So we're very happy to say that we've gone from 100% in-person business to 100% virtual business. Kudos to our educators who are pioneering in what remote learning looks like. And we've been able to continue our partnerships in our local and other schools. And then you reach a larger audience. So we've maintained work in our schools. We've maintained summer work study programs. The Every Girl's a CEO summer work study programs. Our Mommy and Me summer program went on, and moms and daughters built business plans this year and then pitched them in a Shark Tank like competition, and they won $650 of startup money. So we continue to do what we need to do because that money is important to their business, but that money is also important to their homes and their incomes. And so I think the other piece that we've tried to do is continue to enhance, and people will see that coming out through Polished Pebbles soon, is our Mommy and Me piece. Hey, the home is the new schoolhouse. And so we've done teams, summits and town halls for moms to support them in the midst of COVID, in all the various ways, not only serving their girls, but their sons. And we think that certain things like bringing mentoring for the moms,
Mhm.
fellowship for the moms, directly virtually is something that they can expect from the Polished Pebbles Mommy and Me. Still get the great career mentoring that you get for your girls. And then talk about how do you use the Every Girl's a CEO book with your daughters?
Mhm.
How do you engage them with it? Like you mentioned, everybody don't think about journaling. I know it sounds real good that we should journal. I know I don't journal every day like I could. But what we've heard from moms is that daughters are getting to see how strong their moms are when they see, man, mommy works like from literally 9 to 7 p.m. and she's doing it now on a computer, or mom is a frontline responder and she's still going out when everybody else can shelter in place. So we hope that this guide then becomes something else that moms and daughters can explore different careers, explore journaling, explore looking at their strengths and skills. So what we're trying to do is continue to provide our constituents, provide our community, our girls and their families and educators with skills and tools and a toolkit that they can still use to impact girls to be great communicators at home, school, in the future workplace, even in the midst of the pandemic.
And I think it is so wonderful that you have that component of Mommy and Me.
Yeah.
And my girls and I were able to attend the conference last year in 2019 in person, and they had a great time. And it was really good to be able to interact with my daughters in that way. Um, and just so that they could see other young ladies with their moms. And
Yep.
it
Yep.
was just, I enjoyed the fellowship and being able to be around other mothers as well. And I know my 16-year-old this summer participated in virtually with Polished Pebbles, and she was just,
Oh, I didn't even know that.
we keep it low key when we do, I don't, but
That's so cool.
and I will tell you, one of the I don't remember, it's been a couple of years, but I remember it may have been maybe 2018, 2017. I know you also had like the lunchtime series where you go to different high schools,
Oh yeah.
and I participated,
I remember.
and I actually met two women during that. I think we were at Gwendolyn Brooks.
Yep.
It's just so amazing, even with that, how you end up developing relationships with other people based upon, being in a certain space. And so I've always valued that. I've talked about Polished Pebbles, trying to we're in the South suburbs. So sometimes it's been like a challenge for us to.
However, we're working on some things. We're out in the Harvey School District, Riverdale, Dalton,
Oh,
and we're working on some things that we will probably be bringing some things out to the South suburbs coming soon.
that,
So yeah, and I mean, a cool thing that we can do too is maybe get some mom and daughter circles together too, or even around Every Girl's a CEO,
yeah.
because I think that's the important thing. Like you mentioned, fellowship is cool. Where this becomes the cool in thing to do is like, oh no, we prepare for our futures. That's just what we do. That's who we are. And I've been amazed with how many girls that are really, you think you're having to inspire them. They are ready. I
Mm.
mean, I have seen businesses, lip gloss businesses, hair bow businesses, lemonade, film. And so it's really our duty to make sure we're stepping it up and providing the platforms and, to continue to nurture where they're already going. And then support moms too. Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
What has been, if you could just think back, because Polished Pebbles has been in existence for over a decade now, right?
Yeah, 11
Yeah,
years.
yeah. So, what in the past 11 years, what would you say has been maybe the greatest accomplishments or highlight for?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lots of different things. We've been really blessed with, some great coverage. We've been blessed with some really great support and awards and honors, which I'm really grateful for. And some you're just like, oh my gosh, I also value the opportunity to view this as my blank canvas, and so the pivoting, to taking risk, right? Those risk things that we typically only think about happening in for-profit businesses or the wolves on Wall Street, I get a thrill out of it. So it's like, you know what? How come it's not enough women that are in construction and the trades, and it sure ain't enough Black women in it? Well, why don't we start the Pink Heart Hats Project and say, hey, how come you're not thinking about Black women and girls, and write an op-ed about it? I mean, that's thrilling to me, because it's this opportunity to say, here's a problem. Why not? And then why not us? And let's figure it out. And we're in it to win it. And I think Chicago teaches you that, right? You can't be weak here in Chicago. You can't say you're going to do something because they're used to most people not showing up and doing it. So I think those opportunities to take risk and try something new and then see it works and people like it. I think the other thing when I think about great moments are our mentees, who I think when you're planting a seed, there's different levels of success because people try and do you over and it's like, well, is every girl like Michelle Obama? No. But that doesn't mean that we're not successful. And it doesn't mean that girl is not successful. Nobody was sitting there with a measuring stick for us or for other people from other communities saying, did you meet this milestone? Did you meet that milestone? The things that we have to go through to fund our initiatives and get support is a little bit ridiculous, but we can have another conversation about that. But I say that to say that girl who still feels comfortable to reach out, that girl who formed enough trust when everybody else in her life has given up on her to say, I'll come to Polish Pebbles. Okay, I'm going to keep in touch with you guys. That's a powerful thing. And then when you got some girls who are continuing to go on to school and Fulbright Fellows and Yale and all the colleges and universities, and then they come back and they serve as junior mentors or examples for our younger girls and give them tips. That's a powerful thing. And then I have to say the last thing for me that's important is this work is hard. And so, part of it, of if I thought about legacy that I'd like to continue to share, because mentors share it with me, is how do we produce young professionals that then come out and become really competent in this sector, but also are masters at moving and working and creating partnerships across sectors and really take corporate social responsibility and show them what that can look like, show them now what community looks like, really who own what community work looks like and how excellent and how divine it can be. Because sometimes people want to put us in boxes. And I've been really fortunate to work with lots of interns, lots of graduate students, lots of young professionals that this has been a stepping stone. And it's been a blessing of my life to be able to participate in that. Regardless if they liked it all in the time or not, it's okay. But I think that for me, like I was talking to somebody the other day, if tomorrow was my last day, I think I'd be good. I think I'd be good. So yeah.
And that is knowing that you've made an impact on the lives of other people, I think is probably the greatest reward. I know for myself, and I was actually talking to Carissa Parker on.
Oh yeah.
We had a segment and we were talking about, and I don't know what year you graduated from Morgan Park. Doesn't matter. I know you're younger than me, but we were talking about it might have been during my graduation ceremony. The principal then was Mr. Alexander.
Oh, Chuck.
The dash and talking about what have you done with your life, from the beginning to the end, and being known for the contributions that you've made. So, and just thinking about your decision to leave corporate America to then establish this organization and do great things where you're impacting the lives of, young girls everywhere, I think is just absolutely wonderful. And I'm sure you don't have any regrets about leaving corporate America.
I don't. I mean, I think the beautiful thing is I try to work to create an organization that still allows me to have opportunities to partner with them. So again, that's where the blank canvas comes from to say, what does the work what does community work have to look like for me? So yeah, so I'm very grateful. But like you say, Mr. Alexander, those educators really set an example for us, as to what real commitment and nurturing and mentoring and loving on young people looks like.
So what's next for you and for Polished Pebbles?
Sure. So what we'd like to do is, I think what's next for us is to continue to work like locally in our innovation hubs to, figure out how do we create and maybe perfect, what this pipeline to careers in construction or different industries look like. Because I think in addition to that work of forging of partnerships, it's a certain level of advocacy that goes on that all of us deal with as women of color, as Black women, to say, no, we matter,
Hmm.
our leadership matters. Our girls are worthy of investing in. So I think naturally continued steps for me include, moving forth with additional opportunities and advocacy, whether it's through Illinois Council of Women and Girls, U.S. Congressional Caucus of Black Women and Girls that I'm a part of, Coalition on Urban Girls. So I think that's a part of it. And then just being able to take tools like Every Girl's the CEO and being able to provide the professional development and to support to communities who are looking to provide programming for girls and need that kind of structure to do it. And the other thing that's becoming more apparent is that we need to do more career education. And
Hmm.
so, these are tools that we try to put in place to be able to equip to support others to say, girls like doing a whole bunch of stuff: athletics, dancing, cheerleading, fashion troops, but they like some career prep too. And making sure that we're demonstrating equity in how we serve and support and provide programming for girls too. So, so advocacy and continue to grow that way, and continue to grow the expansion of our work.
So, with all of the work that you're doing, what does your support system look like in terms of just helping you to keep going to continue to do this?
Uh, my family, my parents are my best friends. My family are really my best friends. So I'm very much kind of like a close knit circle. They were my first business partners, my advisors, my supporters. We've got a really dynamic team and community with Polished Pebbles that were individuals that came back in the day when it was like, all right, let me help you put this together.
Mhm.
Shh, don't say nothing. I'm gonna make flyers for you at my job. you know, but that's a part of this kind of whole tapestry of this community of people who have really come together to help us grow, and really help the sector grow as well. So that's a part of my support system where I got volunteers and people who have been around for 9, 10, 11 years, good friends, and those have become friends. And then I just think there's other colleagues, ways that we've kind of worked to stick together, whether it's with other women who, have girls serving organizations, other nonprofit leaders. But I've really been enjoying being a part of different programs. Like I was in a program in Loyola, the Business and Society Impact Program, where corporate people, nonprofit people, everybody from every sector, public sector, and we're talking about our issues and our challenges and figuring out how do we get out of our silos and work together. So I think that's what support looks like. So I'm very fortunate. I'll say this, I'll end on this. My mentor, Linda, who taught me about girls programming as I was trying to wade through corporate America, I did not know how to accept help from folks.
Mhm.
And I would close my door every day and cry because I didn't know how to do what they wanted me to do sometimes.
Mhm.
And either people would ask or I would need to ask. And she told me, if you don't learn how to accept help from people now, what are you going to do when you get to be my age? And it wasn't long after that she passed away and made her transition. And
Mhm.
it just really, that lesson had a real impact on me. So I think for me, I'm always willing to accept help from folks. Now, all help is not needed,
Mhm.
but that's part of this magic,
Mhm.
is that Polished Pebbles is about giving people, it's not only about impacting girls, but creating spaces and places for people to impact young people.
Mhm.
So that's a part of my purpose. So I love taking help and putting together teams and convening folks. So that's my passion.
Okay, good stuff. So, I wanted to also ask, how can people, if people want to sign their girls up or get involved with Polished Pebbles, what should they do?
Sure. So if you're interested in volunteering with Polished Pebbles, send us an email at volunteer@polishedpebbles.com. Interested in signing some girls up, go to our Polished Pebbles website, www.polishedpebbles.com, and you can sign up and get our newsletter, and you can send us an email at info@polishedpebbles.com as well. And then we will start sending you some information about some live activities that we have coming up on the World Wide Web within the next couple of weeks that the community, girls, and even their moms can take part in.
Okay. I've got to get back with the program.
Yeah. Hey, we
Yeah.
have to be good to ourselves.
Yeah.
And sometimes to be our best, we need to pause and breathe because all this pivoting can wear you out.
Right.
So
Absolutely. Well, I really have enjoyed just, talking to you again, so people can actually see that I do have my copy
hey, every girl's a CEO.
if it's coming up there. So there is my copy. And so for folks who are viewing, make sure you get a copy of Every Girl is a CEO. You can go to www.kellyfair.com, and they can also get it off the
They can get on www.polishpebbles.com or kellykfair.com.
Kelly
And
K Fair. I'm so sorry.
okay, oh, no worries. And get it for you, get it for 5 girls, tell your school districts about them as well. So we'd love to share the magic of Every Girl's a CEO.
And I'm so excited that there are opportunities for girls who are out in the South suburbs like Harvey, because one of the things that I've also noticed that I've talked about to people, there's an assumption sometimes that in the suburbs that you have all of these tools and resources, and that is certainly not the case at all, because I know that over the years have searched for different programming for my children, and it's been a bit of a challenge. And sometimes I find myself back in the city, to get them involved in a program that I deem to be beneficial for them. So I'm glad to hear that, there are some young ladies who are able to participate. So I'm looking forward to that expansion too. And because I've got a few girls that I can send your way. So
We love to have them. I mean, I think that's again part of our natural advocacy, leadership, and mentorship is finding the gaps and filling them, and working together collectively to do that. Because, like you say, often when you find our kids, there's always a need for additional resources, and it's just an unfortunate fact that are far too often they're just under resourced. And so, as much as we can do to provide the services and rally to get the support and funding to do so, we need to do it. So we're very fortunate to have partners that are allowing us to continue to grow in that way. So yeah.
and one thing that I thought about, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask this question, for there may be individuals who are interested in launching a mentoring program. What recommendations do you have, or do you provide any type of training consultation to individuals who may be interested in joining in this work?
Sure. So I think one of the perfect guys I would recommend is my book, They're All the Same Girl, that first book, because it provides a lot of thoughts and just kind of inspiration and steps and how to get involved in youth mentoring. So I would start there. I think one of the things too that we miss when we get involved, and it's like, I want to do this. And it's like, but then there's places and people that are doing things and they need the help and the capacity and support and your talent to do that. So I think, it's important to really, like you said, look and see what's available and see how you can support some of those efforts so that we're not always having to reduplicate the same efforts, but we're strengthening our efforts and finding ways for us to collaborate and work together. So I think, hey, there's a wonderful thing with starting something. But sometimes some of all the extras that go into it can be deterrents once we get started. And so I don't want to see an empowered individual stop, somewhere on their path from supporting communities and supporting young people. So support communities and support existing programs or existing organizations that could use a girls initiative that you might be able to bring your talents. And it ain't no shade. I mean, it's a wonderful thing because all the stuff that goes into sometimes having your own may not be exactly what you're looking to do. So you can have that purpose, purpose doesn't always have to mean an independent startup. Purpose can be fulfilled in lots of different ways. And when you're strengthening something else within our community and helping them grow, that's a powerful give back as well.
I think that's great advice because duplication of the efforts sometimes not yield
And
the
work ain't sexy. Let's talk about it. It ain't nothing sexy about what comes with that, because you really have to be equipped to work with people.
right.
It's not just the kids, it's the families, the communities, the partners. The 2 hours of planning, it takes 20 to 40, 2 hours of program, it takes 20, 40 hours of planning to get there.
Mhm.
So you have to be really realistic about that. So I advocate for internships.
Mhm.
I advocate for volunteering. I advocate for these little phones that we have, that we need to use them and find out what's out there and how can we be active participants in supporting sometimes some existing things, and then decide if we want to spin off into our own.
Mhm. Great
Mhm.
advice. Great advice. So thank you so
Thank you.
for taking time out of your schedule to, chat with me for a little bit. Congratulations again on your book. And for those of you out there who are listening, make sure you pick up several copies. I'm sure, we've got the holidays coming up. Um,
Hey.
I'm an advocate of reading, advocate of planning and mentorship. So make sure you help these young women, young ladies become successful contributing members of our society. Um, you can visit Polish Pebbles website, www.polishpebbles.com. You're on social media, right? Do you want to share your?
So they can find me mostly on Twitter and Instagram at K Fair the Mentor, Kelly Fair or Kelly Fair the Mentor on Facebook as well. And follow, and we can connect in that way too. Hmm.
Perfect. So, all right. Thank you so much, Kelly, for
Thank you.
me today on Light It Up. And for those of you who have tuned in, thank you again for joining me for this episode. I hope you tune in next week for another very interesting guest. And as always, don't forget to light it up and shine bright like a diamond. Thanks for joining me this week on Light It Up. Make sure you visit my website at www.lightituppodcast.com or www.aginahmuhammad.com. You can also find me on social media using the handle @LightItUpPodcast. If you like what you've heard, please be sure to hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, I'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or you can simply tell a friend about the show. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday for a new episode. Until next time, light it up and shine bright like a diamond.